everyone, and welcome back. It's good to see y'all. Welcome to
Hello.
our third
Hello
of three
again.
developer live streams to talk about all the cool stuff coming up with Destiny 2 Into the Light. My name's Andy. I work on the social media team here at Bungie, and we've got an awesome set
Hi, Andy.
of topics to go ahead and cover today. But first things first, we wanted to go ahead and remind you guys of one clarification we made. For starters, all of the weapons in the Brave Arsenal will now be releasing on April 30th. So, just as a quick reminder, all those weapons will be available for you to farm over the course of Onslaught. There's many ways with which you can go about it. For starters, obviously, you can go ahead and attune yourself to a weapon. So whether you want to go ahead and grab that recluse that you've had your eye on for so long, you've got the opportunity to go ahead and do that
just farted.
over the course of Onslaught. Also, there's going to be the chest up by Shaxx as well, so you can go ahead and farm some additional rolls there. But worry not, you'll have plenty of chances to dive.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Whether it be through our site's quest lines or otherwise.
I think it's gonna be this is gonna be craftable and the Wisp is gonna be craftable. Because look at this. Definitely isn't a dead giveaway.
Missions, a look at the PvP map pack, and a couple more details at the end that we'll go.
That was kind of the idea, isn't it? They're trying to.
But as usual, it won't just be me talking through it. So let's go ahead and tell you about the wonderful folks I have here just to my left. Some incredible developers here at Bungie.
In the
we'll
store, for Brightness, that shader, bro.
Erebus Gallant. One and only Mr. Tom Farnsworth.
Is it right now?
Design lead here at Bungie. Tom,
yeah,
welcome back.
it's literally like a super black shader.
That's another. That's another hint.
No, of course I'm the creative lead for Into the Light, but we're really here to talk about
what?
all the
Never
never
mind.
done, and these
Just watch.
Here with us today, and we're going to talk about some exotic missions, some rewards associated with them.
I may have farted again.
And some PvP stuff. So let's dive in. Let's talk to everybody else here.
Great stuff. We also have sitting just next to Tom as well. We have Rob Adams, one of the art directors here at Bungie, and kind of the person to help come up with the concept of Into the Light. Rob, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hello, Rob.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you. We have a lot of fun stuff. We were talking before the show about a lot of cool stuff. We'll have plenty of fun details to dive into here in just a little bit. And of course, the one and only Willie Chang, activity designer here at Bungie.
Willie Chang? Wow.
For the folks at home that may not be familiar with you or your work, what do you do here at Bungie, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm an activity designer for...
Not to laugh at Willie Chang.
Excellent. Well, with that, we may as well start diving into the show at hand.
Shut up. Stop it. You're going to make me laugh.
In addition to, like we mentioned, some awesome reprised exotic missions, including the Whisper and 0 Hour, which will both feature, craftable versions of each weapon. But let's go ahead and start at the top with the Whisper. We've had a chance to go ahead and kind of pull back the curtain and look behind the scenes a little bit. Let's go ahead and start from the very top. Rob, you were there when it all started. Why did Bungie make the Whisper to begin with?
Well, I think in the first few months of D2, I want to say like the first 3 to 5 months, we felt like there weren't enough secrets in the game. It felt like the game was pretty well known, you know, and kind of like discovered. And it just needed some big secret to be found by the players. And we thought that that would excite our community quite a bit. Like it would just go over really well. We hoped it would, at least.
Yeah.
And we had all this nostalgia for the Vault of Glass and Black Spindle. I mean, one day we were just sitting in a conference room and we're like, what if we just made another Black Spindle mission, but we made it a lot bigger, right?
Speaking of, we've got here on screen kind of some, if we can call it as such, original concept art, you'd say, for the Whisper?
Yeah, it's concept art.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Well, that's actually the very first whiteboard drawing when we got all excited and we ran and found a conference room and we started drawing what this could do, what we would want to build. And really, this kind of shows some of the magic formula. You know, like we had a contract, really, that we called it a contract. And this was an unspoken agreement between us as devs and the hardcore, super engaged players.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And it really was, if you can pass a test where your mind is going to be tested, you're fighting, right?
Yeah, okay.
It's going to be tested, and you're going to be able to pass these tests, right?
Yeah.
Your movement, your mind, your fighting.
Yeah.
If you can get past these tests, you're going to be rewarded with great power.
Yeah.
Great power comes great responsibility.
One of the other things we did, and you can see it up here in the upper left, is there's a little crack, and then the path continues.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the red herring. And so we thought, well, rather than lead players by the nose and have a bunch of narrative and make it really obvious what you're supposed to do, what if they get into this mysterious place and they don't know what to do? And when they go down the path that they think is right, it's not. You know, and they go blazing right past the actual opening. And so we knew or we were pretty confident that that was going to appeal to the hardcore players, because once they learned the path, they could then bring their friends in and show them, and then we would have the videos, you know, with the walkthroughs, and it would just appeal to
as they let their friends go first that first time to watch them fall off the edge helplessly. Also, too, is, you know, to kind of focus a little bit more on the art direction as well. I think, to put it lightly, the vibe in the Whisper is pretty intense. Can you tell us what it was like, kind of imagining that space and bringing it to life?
Yeah, well, we wanted this like intense.
Whoa, that's what this would look like.
I'm on IO, and I found
was the
this
best
place that
mission
I've
they've
never
ever
seen, I
done.
didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And where does it go, right? And that mystery, and also the feeling of dread.
Yeah.
And so,
a lot of that.
yeah, and it's easy to get a vibe if you listen to one type of music, for example.
Right.
So we were watching Stranger Things and listening to the soundtrack, and I got really into building this traversal puzzle. It has a really consistent
I got
vibe
stuck
because it was just
right
one
here
type
on
of music
accident.
that was listened to for the
Then I couldn't get out of it because it was an infinite respawn.
Inside, honestly, also, too, is we've got another picture as well of the infamously titled Green Room as well.
I hated
there was
this
a really
room. It was
cool
so
anecdote you
confusing.
had kind of about the development process of this. What was it like bringing this kind of very iconic, I guess I'd say, Destiny room to life?
Yeah, well, this is funny because there was this thing that we wanted to try, right? Make a room that has a trap in the center, that if you mess up, you end up going down the trap and you get punished for it. And when you get out, you end up back in the room. And it just happens again and again and again. And there's all these different ways that you try to find your way out of this room.
Right.
So the test was to make a tiny version of this, like 1/4 scale. And we brought it into the playtest lab. We had Cosmo
What
and
you can do
Dylan,
is
we
you
had
can
a bunch
just
of
wall
our
skate and then
testers
acres
designers
dash
in
off
there.
and just go all the way up.
And I just waited, right? And I waited for someone to find the hidden shortcut, right? Like, what would happen what's going to happen when they find that hidden shortcut?
Yeah.
And so the first person that found it, they just screamed and started laughing, and then everybody started finding it. And based on that reaction, we knew we had something good. And then it got scaled up into what you see here. And back to the vibe thing again.
Yeah.
When this got built, all I did was listen to Black Sabbath, the first 6 albums, like over and over.
Yeah.
So it just
Bro,
has
like
that
the 0 hour?
really consistent
That
vibe
was
all
the
the way through.
scariest.
That's just
Trevor
a trick
Trevor
that
is
the whole
coming
team
back.
uses to get
Scariest fucking
a
AI
theme
in the
or a
game, dude.
vibe
Oh,
to be consistent.
We're going to go ahead also, too, and start and jump in the activity so we can see this, this
PMG
vibe up close
gifted
and personal
10
as well. But,
10 gifted subs.
Here we are. We're back in the Whisper as well. Really quickly, too, off the top, Willie, when it comes to, you know, bringing these encounters forward, bringing them to the modern era of Destiny, what were some of the bigger challenges that you'd say you have to overcome in order to make sure that they were fitting for today's sandbox?
Oh, there's Luna's
so
house.
sandbox-wise, players nowadays pack a lot more power than they did before. People can clear entire rooms of ads from these activities back when they were in their original state.
Yeah.
Just like extremely quickly. So we had to beef up the number of combatants that are in these encounters, and later on I might talk more about additional tuning that I've done on them.
Totally, yeah, we can come back to that in a second. But I think also, too, really quickly, you know, back in the day, there was a very bespoke way of getting into the Whisper. You had kind of hang out on IO, wait for this mysterious portal to come up. But we've made some changes to that as well. I think you were mentioning before we hopped on
He
the air.
died. What a
I was a
dumbass.
victim of it, right? We had the public event with the RNG, and you had to wait for the right one. And you know, one time I tried to take a coworker through on a Saturday, and we spent like 7 hours just trying to get a few runs because of the public event.
Right.
And that we just had to change that, right? And the team was excited about having a new, benefactor, a new character that you go and talk to. So you'll be talking to Eris Morn. Eris Morn is going to tell you some really cool stuff. I don't want to give it away.
Smart, yeah.
But you're not going to have to deal with the frustrating trigger to get in anymore.
Excellent. No, that's always good to hear. Giving a chance, especially if people are going to come back in here multiple times as they kind of build up their craftable exotics.
They added
Obviously,
Percy
pretty key
platforms.
component.
Of course they did.
Also, too, is I think it's worth mentioning that this has undergone more changes than just the combat landscape.
Yeah.
For the veteran players who are coming in here, folks like myself that have maybe kind of had a lot of this committed to memory, how have you gone ahead and made sure that it's fresh for those veteran guardians out there?
Yeah, well, the goal was, how is this going to be exactly what you just said, right? Like if I've played this 10, 15, 20 times, I've guided people through, maybe I've made a video about how to get through here, how's it going to speak to me, right? Like what's going to be cool for me to go in and do it again? And that was the goal that the team had. And when we knew we were going to do this, I made my own list, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, we're going to change this, we're going to move that, and I was really excited about it.
Yeah.
So Tom was in this meeting. So I show up, and there's like 15, 20 people, and they presented this whole plan, And I had my list all ready to go, and I was going to wait. I was going to listen to all the proposal and everything, and then start giving ideas and stuff. And when they finally finished presenting this plan for how to update this thing, I just deleted my list because it was like, it was way bigger and way cooler than anything that I'd come up with.
Yeah.
It's just so neat to see like a fresh take on it. So if you think you know where the chests are, if you think you know where all the secrets are, if you think you know where all the surprises are, you don't. Because they're different. All those old guys,
Vandals,
all the old walkthroughs, they're going to have to be remade. Even though I'll just give one away. When you first get in, there's that first secret chest room on the right.
Right.
The anomaly has taken care of that. It's not there anymore.
Anomaly has taken care of it.
There's
So
more surprises.
to the Steam guide writers, to the game facts writers, to the folks making their YouTube videos, a revision 2 is going to be in order sometime soon.
Oh yeah.
By the sounds of it.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. Also, too, you know, are there any other changes that you guys are particularly excited about when it comes to the Whisper? We're going to move on to 0 Hour here in a little bit, but you know, before we conclude our journey here,
the far right one
Willie,
still?
actually, on your side, are there any changes in particular that you're excited about with this updated?
So
version?
they kept the same
I'm
hold.
excited about the way that the boss fight has changed for this activity.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll leave that to folks to go ahead and discover on their own when it comes to the launch date of the Whisper. But yes, this is a first look for the folks out there who are looking to go ahead and make sure that they're ready on day one to go ahead and add another craftable exotic into their collection. Obviously, the Whisper is going to be there for you, but we don't want to spoil all of it. You'll have it in your hands soon enough. And also, some folks out there have already had a chance to play it, so we don't want to go ahead and uncover too many of the mysteries. Up next, we've also got, obviously, another iconic one, 0 Hour. Let's start from the top.
Scared me,
Can you explain, Rob, the concept behind Trevor? You've obviously got an homage to him on your...
I have my shirt, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bro,
can you tell us a little
Trevor
bit
is
about
a
what this original
freak of
concept
nature.
So Trevor was really...
Is 0 Hour
inspired by
that
this-
scary?
There's this Japanese game show called Takeshi's Castle.
Dude,
and
he's
it's been around a while.
scary.
And it's great because it has all these physical challenges and people getting knocked down or, you know, flipped over and stuff.
No,
and
you're
trying to
just
get through
dead.
Things. And there's just a lot of comparisons to what we try to do in Destiny, and we've borrowed from that show and shows like it for a long time for cool ideas. And they have this one bit where the contestants try to get up this hill, and there's this big fake boulder that comes down the hill, right? And there's these little like side rooms, you know, like little pockets that they can try to get into. And so we were like, man,
sometimes
if we
it
had
like
something
barely
like
cut
that in the
people.
middle of this mission, that would be amazing, right? Like, and so we had this thing that we called, there it is.
Yeah, we got some concept art up on
Yeah,
now.
so we had this thing that we called the hazard for a long time. The
Jesus
hazard
Christ.
is going to get you, right? And it's going to
This
come
is
down
literally
at
what
you.
it looks like.
And on
This.
the left, you can
It's
see
scary.
the original whiteboard drawing
Scary,
of what this
dude.
could look like. And there you see the hill with the slots.
Yeah.
We basically lifted off of Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah.
And then that evolved into what we eventually made as a maze, right? And then there's the very first drawing of Trevor. And on the right, you can see a concept art by one of our artists named Fang Gao.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked at it, it had a bit of a vacuum cleaner look, you know, it
You
didn't
know, I
quite
will agree
nail
that
the
looks
fear,
scary and
you know, which
The
fucking
which we might talk
intimidating.
about
The
in a
fucking
second.
sound that it
So then
makes.
on the far
Oh
right,
my god.
You can see the centipede legs and the light.
Dude,
and
the sound
final
is
revision. That's
scary,
pretty
dude.
close to how Trevor
Well,
ended
then
up.
horror stories
Definitely,
coming in
it
Destiny.
feels
Bro,
terrifyingly
it was
weird, some
literally a
would say.
horror story.
And I, you know, kind of while we're on the other, the legs,
Oh,
which
I gotta
brings
read
up
for
honestly
next
another great
week.
example I'd love to touch on as well is, you know, as a guardian myself, we've felled gods, we've fought some of the most difficult battles in the universe, whether it's against our fellow guardian or the many foes that set foot inside the solar system. When it comes to Trevor in particular, it elicits a very primal, sincere fear. How did you guys kind of elicit that from players who have obviously conquered so much?
Well, I think there's this like satisfaction from scaring people that's inherent in everybody. Like we've all scared somebody, I think, at some point. It's just super fun, right?
Yep.
So what could we do in Destiny to actually make people feel fear? And the team was super excited about how to try to tackle that problem. Because you're right? Like Guardians can just jump away and we kill everything and we're just gods.
Invisible
God
and dodge
killers.
away.
Yeah, exactly.
To do it, yeah.
So how do you scare our players in the game, right? So
You
the first step was
succeeded.
drop you in a maze.
Yeah.
There's something in there that you cannot kill. You can't jump up because
can't
the ceiling is just above your head.
And you
right?
can't
so those
kill
were the
Trevor.
first three
You can't
things.
even shoot him.
This thing is faster than you.
Yeah.
So
It's
you know
scary
you're in there with
fast.
something that you can't kill that can go faster than you. And then of course we did the centipede bottom, which I have this particular phobia.
This part was interesting, to say the least.
The fact that you took something that is such a fear and put it front and center, honestly, like it's commendable.
This is the one for Outbreak.
This dude takes a giant centipede.
That's not
okay.
It's not Forgotten. It's the Luna's Howl. You're adding like slide shot and opening shot to it.
It just has to be sideways centipede legs that are made out of metal, and they just grind you up when it catches you. And
now the servitors in this room were a bitch. Okay, next room, my bad.
Really was to put a super bright light on it that would shine
Are we in the tower for this?
Past your body, so you
this
can
is
see
part of the tower
shadows
technically,
to get away.
but this is
and, honestly, like a lot
this
of
is the D1 tower, but it's 0 hours. It's a mission that they took away from bringing back.
On the team also felt
And the
about,
Outbreak is gonna be craftable and Whisper. This is the 0 hour.
It's finite, just clock running out in front of you.
Yep, you see the light coming, and then you see the thing.
Yeah.
And so that really helped us figure out how to make this thing as free
and
as
bricks.
No
Fan-fucking-tastic.
on the tracks hoping for the best here.
Yeah, no.
Not a chance now. Trevor's going to chew you up, honestly. So also, we found ourselves now, we're in the beginning stages here of the Whisper we can see on screen. Willie, we kind of touched on this briefly over the course of the Whisper, but can you tell us a little bit about what it was like sort of reinventing these combat spaces and these encounters for Guardians in a modern sandbox, especially those that are going to have the Brave arsenal available to them?
I have some stuff to say, but I'll say it after the video.
Just now you saw a brig in this encounter, which there wasn't one before.
Yeah.
I think there's the desire to keep the soul of the activity.
This wall right here, I got stuck inside of it one time. That was not very fun.
To finish this activity quickly, and also I'm going up against powerful enemies that are trying to stop me from doing that. So we wanted to make sure that the combat still felt challenging, even in today's sandbox. So we added some new combatants, like the brig. And we also just increased the number of combatants, period.
Loop battle failed to spawn.
So players had more to do with their more diverse and deadly tools.
Yeah. Guardians have plenty of those available to them. When you were developing these combat spaces as well, were there any moments where you really thought to yourself, like, all right, this is it. Like, we've really centered in on what was great about this mission.
What is this guy doing?
This is going to be appropriately challenging for today's Guardians.
Yeah, I think when we play tested it, and you know, we had everybody load up with their like new maneuverability tools, their swords, their grapples, to go through the activity, and then we were expecting that, like, oh, people are gonna breeze through this like it's nothing, like the original 20-minute timer has to become something else. But really all of that translated over pretty well. Like the individual sections are self-contained enough that, like, you can't bypass too many things by just using one new tool.
Okay, if they have this, the wall right there to the left, you could just go through. You could just walk through.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Even with, we're gonna go ahead and jump
Imagine if they don't fix that bug and they launch it next week.
I mean, if they use the same things, you could just well skate past 2 encounters and get to the boss.
Also, too, is we're in a world where, you know, there's
what the heck?
There's shatter skating.
Yeah.
When it came to kind of
redesigning
these activities, or even making, I guess, alterations more appropriately on these activities, you know, with one like Trevor, for example, what was the challenge that you kind of had to overcome with those new movement tools in addition to the combat tools that players have available to them?
Yeah, I guess philosophically, I want to make sure that
no, don't go down there. Don't. And he's down there. We're fucked.
Then
I will turn off the stream if I see Trevor.
Yeah, you're highly maneuverable. Like maybe you're in this hallway with Trevor.
Yeah, this is what Trevor is.
This is where Trevor comes in.
Ground up by these centipede legs, so I'm going to sword skate.
Run for your life.
And have a little bit of speed on Trevor. But like, you know, you still can't.
You have to go around and you have to get the little things.
There,
here he comes.
Time those. So
he's
they're just like
blocking
different
it.
expressions of how you want to tackle these challenges, and none of those expressions. Like,
that was Trevor who just turned the corner up
these
there.
Challenges out the window.
Yeah, actually, something too that I'm seeing pop up in chat here is the mention of the timer. So for starters, there's also this is normal.
This is Trevor.
There's also a legend, isn't that right? Yeah, Tom, can you tell us a little bit about like any updates to the timers in these missions as well?
So, Willie,
don't go down there.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, it's the other way.
Normal, it's 40 minutes.
He is scary.
Time, especially if you're new.
You see why? You see why? As soon as I said don't go down there, I will turn off the stream.
A lot of our kind of like.
Yeah, I see why Trevor's a scary thing.
Version, which has a 20
oh, I'm definitely going to be screaming so loudly on this.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, chat. in addition
Once you get all the
these
little
other
things,
updates
you
you've
just go on the way out, right
Are there
there.
anything
Door
or
opens.
any changes you've made in particular that you're excited about that you're comfortable talking about it here, or is it just you want players to dive in and find out for themselves?
Yeah, so the whole secrets setup for 0 Hour is different. So, you know, previously we had key cards. Those have been replaced by another secret system that you'll just have to find out more about for yourself.
Excellent.
And you know, I'm also proud of the boss fight in this
That's right. Yeah, we'll hold that one close to the vest. Players will have a chance to see that on their own and see Willie's hard work in person.
Are we dropping in day one for this?
As we mentioned at the top of the show as well, there's going to be craftable versions of these exotics. And
Oh, heck yeah. I'm in.
There was one
I
more
definitely want to be the
that I
first
wanted to
like.
ask you about, Rob, in particular. There was some discussion briefly about the acronym.
But I'm
that
sure
is
which
Trevor.
to go. Either go with you or with the
stands
clan,
for?
but I'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, but I had to open my phone because it's like impossible to remember that.
We all have our notes. Yeah, it's part of the game.
So early on, the team, we just realized we had to figure out an acronym for this because we loved the name Trevor because it was paradoxical. I went to school with a kid named Trevor who was the
Look at his
nicest
search
kid in
history.
school.
What kind of point he's
Just
been
nice to
looking at?
everybody to a fault, right? So I always thought like Trevor is just the nicest name, and so
That made you
paradoxically,
laugh,
there's this
though.
evil thing named Trevor, and we thought it was hilarious. But once we alphanumericized, is that a word?
It's called
Once we made
sarcasm, my
that,
guy.
we had to come up with the acronym. So the one that I had was Tracking Robotic 3-Vectored Reducer. Because it reduces, right, Tom? It's like it reduces you, yeah. But that was our internal acronym.
Yeah.
And so when we went to GuardianCon and we did like a fly-through or like a walkthrough.
Yeah.
And so the community team thought that we should let the fans of GuardianCon decide what the actual acronym for Trevor was. And so we had like the 5 different examples, and my tracking robotic was in there.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's one of the things. I was like, please pick mine, please pick mine.
Yeah.
And so at the end, what they decided on, and they decided by loud applause, and it was like very obvious that this is what they wanted.
The committee had
Oh, yeah,
spoken.
it's like very obvious.
Yeah.
What they decided on was tame, relaxed, triple-vac roommate. So that's the official name for Trevor.
That's it. It's
The
codified.
acronym. Yeah.
Thank you very much to the denizens of
definitely
GCX.
not
Thank you
being
very
that
much for your hard
far.
work and letting us know exactly what Trevor should be called. That's really cool. I wish I'd been there for that. Okay, now we're taking a quick look at the craftable exotics as well. We're going to go ahead and start with Whisper of the Worm. Tom, can you tell us a little bit about what
breathing?
players who are going to go
What?
facilitate their own play style or want to build a Whisper all to their own?
Oh my
What are they gonna have
god,
to look
Whisper's
forward
going to
with
be
all this?
broken.
Yeah, even before we get into the crafting, like I've got my notes here from Chris Proctor, so
you're the man
ready to
himself.
go. Yeah, he's sitting on my shoulder,
Yeah.
helping me out here. And we wanted to retain the fantasy of both these weapons, of both Whisper and of
This says
Outbreak.
5/17,
Whisper, it's a
2024.
hard-hitting precision weapon where you're in the backfield. Like, and if you land your crits, you're rewarded, and you can sustain a ton of damage on a boss or enemies with a large critical area.
Ogres will be felled.
Ogres would be felled. The servitors.
Don't stand a chance. Yeah.
And then with Outbreak, the fantasy is all about spreading the plague of Siva nanites.
Certainly.
And we'll be able to get to that in a minute. But
I think we're looking at Whisper right now.
Yeah. So specifically with Whisper and Outbreak, for both of them, with both these crafted weapons, they'll both have a craftable barrel, magazine, traits, and stock options. The barrel and magazine options will let you like really push the stats around.
Cool. This looks
so
really
you'll be able
cool
to
and
have, like, a
interesting.
max stability Whisper if you want.
Yeah.
Which was like really advantageous for a weapon that's about this like hitting repeated critical hits.
Certainly.
In an area.
Look how much airborne effectiveness it
And then
has.
specifically for the perks on Whisper, and both the perks on Whisper and Outbreak are things
No
that
distract.
engage in
Whoa.
secrets week over week, and
Even
in
though
both of these
half how
exotic
much
missions,
no one uses
you'll be able to
an
unlock them.
airborne.
And for Whisper, it starts
Wait
off
a
with the Mulligan,
second.
which is the classic perk where if you miss your shots, they get refunded. But if you upgrade it, you can get Field Prep, which will give you more shots, which equals more damage.
Yeah.
And then there's No
That's
Distractions,
broken.
which will allow you to keep under.
I think
hold your
I
aim
think
on your
this one's
target
gonna be
better.
broken.
And there's also Enlightened Action, which is for more forgiving
Field
reloads.
Prep's
So I think a lot of
definitely
options
going
for
to
different players
break
with
the
different play styles
game.
and different skill levels.
This
there.
gun is going to be
Yeah,
so
field
OP.
prep is gonna
The kind of
damage.
the cherry
Is
on
gonna.
top there
Yeah.
with Whisper
Whoa.
is that it's getting a reserves bump. So
Oh
it's gonna
yeah,
go
you're
from
just giving free
18
extra
in reserve
reserves
to
and at this
24
point,
in
nope.
reserve.
Everyone is
so
going to
you're gonna
have that
a ton
instead of
ammo to
mulligan.
just like make it a sustained damage monster.
Yeah.
Which is super exciting.
So ultra precise players like myself who never miss a shot will have even more. Why are you guys laughing? Why are you? That's funny. No, that's really exciting. We also we have Whisper the Worm.
You never
in addition
claim to be extra
Outbreak Perfected
precise.
now joining
You're
the
just making
pool of
fun of
craftable
yourself.
exotic weapons. Let's take a quick look at Outbreak as well while we're here hanging out in the Enclave. Tom,
What the?
You know, second verse, same as the first, same question. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the perks and updates that players will have available to them with their options to craft Outbreak Perfected?
Yep, and so in addition to barrels and mags, it has its classic outlaw perk is back. So you get your fast reloads on final blows, which works really well.
Yeah, the
Outbreak. It's all about
always
also
there.
landing precision hits to either spawn nanites or to kill enemies and spawn nanites and spread that Siva energy around.
Spread the plague.
Spread the plague. And then the second one though that we're added here is rapid hit, which
Head
plays
Seeker?
right
Head
into
Seeker?
that. So like you land your precision shots, you get more stability, you get faster
There's
reloads.
Head Seeker. What the fuck?
Then another new one is rewind
Rewind rounds. Rewind
It's
rounds.
Yeah.
try it out.
Oh,
Which refills
my
your
God,
reserves
that's
from,
really good.
to minimize your reload. So like if you're hitting shots, you're just going to keep getting more ammo, which is really like, kind of interesting.
Perpetual motion
Oh,
machine, no,
that's
perpetual
really
death
good.
machine.
Yeah, it's like do you want the reloads or you just want to keep shooting?
Yeah.
And then there's also a head seeker, which I think maybe for PvP or for certain play styles where like you're
Oh, there it is.
focused on your critical shots. That's something to think
Oh yeah,
about
we're
as well.
hopping in. We're getting
terms
the
of
crafted and
catalysts,
getting everything crafted day one,
if you already
obviously.
have them, you're golden. You can craft those. If you don't,
There you
play the legend version
Seeker's
of
an interesting
Whisper
thing, okay.
in 0 hour, and you'll have a chance to get them.
Body
That's
shots
still in there.
increase
And then, as I
precision
mentioned,
damage.
for unlocking these new intrinsic perks that you can slot in, there'll be
That's
like a 3-week
Catalyst, disease
mini quest
vector.
line that rolls into the secrets for each of these. And Whisper is coming.
Oh yeah,
in March,
we're staying
Digital
up for
Light,
12 hours at a
and
time.
0
I don't
hour is
care.
coming in May.
Perfect. Okay. So it'll be a chance to go ahead and sink your teeth into 0 hour for a while before you go ahead and change your attention and start unlocking another one of the storied
You
exotics.
have to wait a whole month?
Also, it's worth mentioning that there are more than just the craftable weapons available as rewards in these missions. There's some tried and true ships. Now, we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but as someone who still to this day wears 1,000 wings.
You and me?
Yeah, like we know the feeling of getting that ship and finally having that I was there moment. The ships are making a return as well, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so for both Whisper and for 0 hour, they're coming back. Is it the exact same ship, or are there going to be changes on them?
No, these are actually new assets, right? They're new ships, so they won't be the same. They won't sit in the same spot in your inventory, and they are updated to look really cool and new. And I think they're exciting, especially we took the old scrap drifter ship that was, I think. Not really loved particularly by the community because it was literally scrapped together from spare parts to get built, and so we did a really nice pass on that. So it's inspired by the look of Outbreak Perfected, and I think it looks great. I think the community is going to love it.
Yeah.
And then we have the Whisper ship, 1,000 Wings. It's got a new design, so you'll still have your old 1,000 Wings, and if you have that equipped, players are going to know that you're OG and that you got it back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And the new one is going to look like the new one, so there won't be any mistaking the old one for the new one.
Very cool. Excellent. So for the players who want to go ahead and continue to build up their collections, there's a chance to go ahead and dive back in. Maybe they weren't there originally, but they want to go ahead and join the 1,000 Wings Club to a degree.
Exactly.
Excellent. So it'll be a chance to go ahead and unlock those as well. Excellent. Well, I think we are actually about at the point of the show we're going to go ahead and get ready to rotate over to the PvP map pack. But for starters, let's go ahead and make sure we thank our incredible team of playtesters here, going ahead and showing off the missions for us. Ashley, Peyton, and Michael, thank you all so much. Very much. There we go. We're getting some waves from the backstage. Thank you all so much for the time. And of course, Willie, I think this is unfortunately the time now we bid you adieu to go ahead and transition into the PvP map.
See you soon.
Awesome. Willie, thank you so much. All right, we are now joined by another member of the Bungie development team, a staff artist here who has helped made many of the PvP maps that you've also known and loved, the one and only Mr. Cooley Callahan. Cooley, welcome to the show, man.
Guys, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for having me
Absolutely. It's been so long.
Yeah, it has. It's been a minute.
Look at us, right?
That's full circle.
Yeah. Now, we were talking a little bit before the show about Cooley. I'm going to go ahead and do us all a favor and put Cooley on the spot to a degree. Rob, we were talking a bit about Cooley's history.
We were.
Can you tell us a little bit about the man sitting just to your left, the contributions he's made to the PvP pantheon?
Yeah, well, one of the things that was really important for us was to make sure that the strike team was stacked. that we had the best designers on the strike team. And so Cooley is certainly one of those. He's a 6-year veteran of the PvP team who shipped over 11 maps.
Yeah.
A lot of them are fan favorites, and I'm not going to steal any more of Cooley's thunder. I'll just let him talk about some of that.
Yeah, it's not everyone's a banger. I mean, there's definitely some maps that people would want some words with me. But I think
yeah, did you make multiplex? Are you the one who made it the trials for the weekend?
I think, you know, Burning Shrine, which is now Burnout. You
I
know,
will,
such a
I will
classic
burn
map.
you.
It's, a Trials favorite.
In the game, of course.
And then Midtown is another map that turned out really well.
I love you.
Countdown, but you know, I was just chatting with another Destiny fan at the dog park the other day, talking about how well that map supports all of the different engagement ranges, which is definitely something that we try to do. We try to create places for players to use their.
That is the one weird spot, the weird map that works on every weapon, pulse rifle, SMG. It works on every weapon, which makes no sense.
I think it was the 3v3 kind of competitive side of things was sort of the focus for these maps.
Absolutely, yeah. I think early on, a lot of the direction that we got was we wanted to bolster that competitive gameplay experience with new maps, tweaks to the modifiers of some of the modes, and so we, in our play testing, really focused on the competitive playlist and really centered and put those experiences at the forefront. And then, you know, all Destiny maps, you know, can suit a variety of modes, so we also made sure they worked elsewhere. But for the most part, we really did want to provide new experiences and just breathe a little bit of new life into the higher, maybe a little bit sweatier gameplay.
So weird how you were staring directly at me when you said sweaty, but that's fine. We'll let it go for now. You know, actually, briefly too on that topic before we kind of go into the guided tour of these maps. You know, having had so much time to sort of be a part of building the tapestry that so much of our PvP happens on, what were some of the key lessons that you've kind of taken away from having built those maps and seen them go through everything from trials to quick play and you know, bringing forward those lessons into these maps?
Yeah, I think one thing that is always at the forefront of our minds is you know, trying to strike that balance between, you know, providing the playground for players to express themselves and express their Guardian and their play style. So a lot of verticality, a lot of movement, and then balancing that with making sure players understand where they're getting shot from, and, you know, creating a satisfying PvP engagement that doesn't leave players, you know, cursing the map or you know, feeling like
I should say, hey, do it jiggle.
So we want to make sure that players have you know, we want to provide a choice for players that's, you know, always available to them to.
If you're going to make PvP references, don't expect me to say anything.
So it's a balancing, like, a complex gameplay space that allows a lot of movement and freedom without, you know, opening it up so much that you're not understanding, like, geez, I can get shot from so many different places.
Certainly.
So we really. It's a little bit of back and forth. We'll open it up. We'll try some things. Especially this time around, we tried some stuff and got into the weeds a little bit. But I think that's all part of the discovery process of finding the gameplay that we want to create. And so we go a little further, maybe too far in the openness and Swiss cheese, and then we bring it back and make it a little bit more focused and really dial in the engagements that we want.
That's awesome. I mean, speaking of getting in the weeds, there's no time like the present. Shall we go ahead and dive on in?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Cool. Diving on in. All right, we got the first of 3 maps to go ahead and show off. This is the.
I can't wait.
We have one on Europa, one on Neomuna, and then one on one of the pyramid ships in Essence, I believe.
That's right.
Location. So this is the first one. This is here on
Big
Europa.
map on a pyramid. That's
Cool.
going to
Can
be
you
cool.
tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here today, or where we are?
Yes. So this map is called Eventide Labs, and this is a long-forgotten human colony research outpost on Europa.
You're so lucky I'm muted. You're actually so lucky I'm muted.
It just so happens that Aramis has chosen this location as a refueling station for her catch. So here you'll see
I was wondering why you were so silent.
There's definitely tons of out-of-bounds spots over here.
It's getting hooked up, and we have a servitor over here that's hooked up to the catch to provide that ether that the Elixir need.
I'm going to lose my voice, I actually am.
So we really wanted to situate the maps in the universe.
When did they turn Graviton into a 300 RPM? That's what I want to know.
But yeah, we definitely have
no idea.
Fallen here, set amongst
it's so shit!
Abandoned human, you know, ice-encrusted structures of the past, which has been a really fun environment to work on. We definitely want to bring in as many new palettes as possible because, you know, there's so much great environment art content. The palettes are really cool.
Who gave this the go-ahead, man?
We want to use those in PvP wherever we can, just to, you know, the different palettes have different character that leads to different gameplay spaces.
Also, you know, when it comes to kind of finding these maps of place in the world, Rob, you know, having kind of looking at through an artistic lens, what were some of the challenges or even kind of exciting opportunities?
Teammate, are you not going to help me out?
You know, new
Dog, you gonna watch
it?
If you're not gonna watch, shush.
Experiencing more recently.
Well, we really wanted to make sure that when we do,
we can play after
like
this is done.
You know, it's a major refresh to the map rotator, right? Like we're adding quite a bit of variety here. We wanted to make sure that we had 3 distinctly different places and places that players haven't seen a bunch of times. So fortunately, we had these available to us, and I'm looking at it again now. I mean, I'm not getting sick of looking at this. The team does such a good job.
It's gorgeous. This is, I mean, one of the cool things is just how purposeful everything feels in the world. You know, our team always pushes it so far where it really feels like you're walking into a truly recently defunct, you know, human colony.
There's definitely going to be a flag like right fucking here for trials, just randomly.
They all have their advantages for PvP, but the frozen ice walls of Europa are just perfect for multiplayer, and I'm sure Cooley's going to talk about this.
There's definitely going to be tons of out-of-bounds areas.
Cooley, if you wouldn't mind, you know, as people who have heard me talk too much about Destiny PvP would know, Dead Man's Tale and I get along a lot. Can you tell us a little bit maybe about some of the sightlines or opportunities that I'll have to maybe rack up some additional kills as I dive into this map the first time?
Totally. If long range is your thing, this spot out here is definitely the place for you. There's one spawn that happens for one team over by C and then one over by A, and so in these competitive modes, if you've got an objective,
what is this?
This sight line is really important to lock down. So this is
this
is a spot where you're gonna have 2 teams poking.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
And then, you know,
but what is this special right there? What?
Zone and lock it down, and if you're rolling with that long range kit, you can hang back.
Why is it special there like that?
Lock down this airspace here so that you can provide cover and
is this collision?
It's on the inside, on the point side.
On this point.
Is this collision?
And then
fantastic.
We also have sort of this the sight line in the middle, which will be pretty fun.
Seems like control.
A race to, for each player.
This is controlled, and they're redoing.
Kind of get to this spot and lock down this sort of portal here to ensure that you can push into this space and kind of control the middle. But as you can see, there's lots of ways for players to come in and flank. So if you're holding the space, you'll really not want to be here for too long unless you've got the support to do it.
Yeah. Make sure you throw those grenades right off of the rip, basically, when you're coming out of spawn to try and conquer that territory as best you can.
Yeah, one of the things I love about these
it's like Shotgun always wins. I do all this movement
a lot of
shit,
opportunity
and then
for grenades.
Shotgun always wins.
Trip mines and bounce things off of the back of the
dog
wall.
shush.
The shapes here are just really fun to play with.
All right, so this is one of 3 maps. Let's go ahead and prepare to go ahead and move on to the next one here really quickly. We've got coming up next, Neomuna as well. So finding a place, on Neomuna, obviously that makes sense for PvP, probably seems pretty natural, honestly, given just like how rich and vibrant and exciting of a place it is. What was it like, even starting from an artistic standpoint on this map, Rob?
This was a really exciting map for the team. It's a shopping/entertainment center for the exos on Neomuna. And, so there's a lot of really fun decoration, and the spaces have a lot of character to them. There's a lot of recognizable things, human scale things that, look relatable, and we don't always get that.
Curtis Plaza.
Palettes, and so
Neomuna.
This is also an opportunity for us to have a really clean.
Yo, what the fuck?
Crisp edges and
what the huh?
So
this is like the best one I've ever made.
Players and the sort of the more PvP diehards, they really take to this map, and it's an instant hit. People are
a zone out of the bat like that. That's
how readable the map is. It's one of those maps that you play a couple times and you get it. You understand that it's all about the center atrium room.
Okay, this actually does look great.
There's multiple floors.
There's this area down here, which is where a lot of objectives
No,
spawn.
that's a pit in the middle.
Some special ammo down here, but then there's also this place over here where the heavy ammo spawns, and players will oftentimes just pop up here to do a quick check and maybe try to get a cheeky kill on somebody who's maybe running from cover to cover, but
Go down.
you can't
What?
hang out here for very long because you've got so many different angles at which you can get shot from. But that's
People are
kinda like
so
that balance
camping that
of what I
middle
was talking
area
about
right
before.
there.
Like we want to provide that, but we want to make sure that
And no, this doesn't have multiple
it's not
floors.
too
It's just that
powerful,
one
or,
floor.
you know, it's still a
If
risk
it goes
reward, right? You're
down,
making
that
a
would be
trade-off.
sick.
You know, the players who are using the map well, and
Multiple
understand the map
floors would have
will,
been a good idea, but that would have
you know,
made the
be
map
able to
way too
use
big.
it to their advantage.
Yeah, actually, also too, to kind of focus on the readability.
And there would
I
have been
remember
way too many
overhearing some
spots to shoot
discussions
people from.
with you designers talking about the clean zone in PvP. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how it kind of helped inform the design of this map?
Yeah, definitely. I think the clean zone is something that, you know, a lot of developers really use to sort of create this space for
He's stuck in
player
third person, isn't he?
pop, right? To like really stand out from the environment. And so for us, it's about where the player's head height is. And this map is, you know, just one of the examples of how it can really provide for a good PvP experience to have this sort of mark on the wall where you can kind of expect players to reside in.
Yeah. Until they jump around and strands suspend you in the air and you're just left there cursing the heavens for a little while. Yeah. Maybe I'm speaking on my own behalf.
You just gonna sit up here? Yeah, okay. People gonna sit up here sometimes.
Yeah, this is, I will say, one of the maps that, having done a little bit of play testing myself, I still have to give you credit for perhaps one of the most diabolical heavy weapon spawns, or heavy ammo spawns, rather, I should see, in any PvP map. Like the sheer amount of risk reward that goes into just making your way safely, or so you think, out to that particular territory. Right. You know, as you guys were even building that balance in of these consumables on the map, Cooley, what was it like sort of having that process evolve or grow?
Yeah. You know, typically when we start laying out a map, we just kind of start with control because it's a good base point. It requires 3, you know, very well-defined combat pockets.
There's a
that have
cat.
Objective in them. But then from there, we start mapping out the other objectives that might exist on a map, like the heavy ammo point. And
I just saw that
kind of
cat.
gravitated more toward having special ammo live next to some of the other objectives on the map, so you're not constantly having to make a choice of where should I go. But we kind of map those things out, and it's sort of a formula. There's definitely a sort of a order of operations, so to speak. Of you start with, you know, these big strokes. You go to the next stage and start making sure that you've got, you know, space and combat pockets for, you know,
big strokes.
Dominion or, you know, some other game modes, and things just kind of
Interesting.
fall into place from there.
We've also
Push on
got
target,
one more map to
pussy.
check out as well. For all the fine folks at home, we're going to continue our guided tour, and we're going to make our way over to Essence, to one of the pyramid ships.
But can you go
The final
down?
PvP map that'll be releasing in this pack. As we're flying in, I gotta give you guys credit. Like the space that exists inside those pyramid ships that's being terraformed by the Traveler looks just absolutely incredible. But this is the first time you guys have had a chance to really flex your muscles and build a PvP map out here. You know, Rob, just to start from your perspective as we load in, what was it like developing this, you know, playground for Guardians that's kind of so deep in the enemy's backyard?
I think it was really tough. You know, like I remember there were quite a few iterations of this map, and I know Cooley's going to go into more detail, but like from a high level, it's a pretty inherently noisy palette. You know, Cooley was talking about the clean zone. There's some palettes in the game that are just very visually noisy. So the geometry is noisy. They create a lot of shadow and a lot of highlights just by the geometry itself. And then the textures, the shaders that are on the geometry, those can be noisy.
Yeah.
And then there's the clutter of the palette. So when you have an environment with a lot of entropy,
Nah, they are
rubble
cooking.
everywhere. There's like garbage strewn around or plants hanging down, like we often do in Destiny. We have to declutter. Some of like the European dead zone maps, for example, are highly cluttered. And so this was an example of one of those fairly entropic, high clutter palettes that the team had to kind of
This is a disjunction.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Cooley's going to talk about that process because it was quite a process.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, Cooley, I'd love to continue and start
light
there.
speed.
You know, taking this space on a pyramid ship and kind of making it
Oh, I'm
suitable
edging
for
at light
PvP
speed.
map. What was that process like from your perspective, kind of from more of a design
This
side?
is going to be a game
Yeah,
map.
it's again a process of back and forth. You know, we start with mass out, and mass out is the simplest and cleanest a map will ever be. And you know, from there we start developing the spatial character of the map. And one of the
Can't
things
wait to
we
load
like to
in and
ask
I instantly have
ourselves is, what
frame
is
drops.
this place? And even with a more abstract palette like the Essence ship, it's worth asking that question because we can leverage spatial archetypes that just kind of like naturally resonate with people. So like here we have, in this map, we have sort of these dueling huts, or these dueling ziggurats, and inside of them is this artifact or shrine. So maybe this is like maybe this part of the ship is a collection of mysterious artifacts that the witness has collected. And so we lean on those things to give a little bit of rhyme and reason to a space that otherwise is completely abstract.
Pussy.
And that is also really
You know
useful
what would be
for
cool?
us in terms
If
of
this was
we can
taking
make
place
any
inside
kind
of the
space we want.
actual
Like, we're
raid
not
while
limited
people are
by
actually doing a
architectural
raid.
constraints, but
Just a
you know,
PvP map in the
it can be tough
distance,
sometimes
people
to
playing
orient
PvP while someone
players
else
in
is
the
doing a
map,
raid.
when you
That
don't
would be
have things
sick.
like doors or like
PvP while doing
TVs
a raid.
or
I swear that's gonna be so
any sort of human
Imagine the
scale
networking on that.
architectural pieces that
I don't know, they can have like the garden
clue you
invisible
in.
wall where you
So,
can't shoot through it.
yeah.
It's also too is I remember we were talking a little bit before the show, Rob, even about what it was like from a design standpoint and bringing in external testers to try these maps
They
out for the
accidentally-
first
they-
time. Can
they
you tell us a little
wipe
bit
and they
about
spawn
that
inside the
experience, kind of as
PvP
you, I
map.
think, phrased it, discovering your own blind spots?
Yeah, well, we've done this before for years, really,
That'd be
and
funny.
Yeah.
we did it
You
again
play
here. And it
PvP
was,
now,
I
pussies.
think really
Yeah.
successful because it was 2 days. They ran through these maps when they were still in development. They weren't too far enough along where we couldn't make some pivots
There's
that we
a
needed
traveler.
to.
Yeah.
And they found a lot of stuff. I mean, for this map, for example, we thought it was in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
And a lot of things were called out. They didn't pull any punches. They were honest and clear and constructive with the feedback. And it wasn't super easy to hear it all, but
Sure.
when the team listened to it and we took tons of notes, and it was also about they
This
gave
is
feedback
pretty
on-
cool. This is pretty cool
on our
though.
sandbox as well.
Yeah.
But lots and lots of map feedback. It was incredibly useful, and just another lesson in what we don't see.
Yeah.
And it's so valuable to do that. And these, I can't say who they were, but they're very well-known community
Maybe
players.
some folks in chat, who knows? But
Yeah. Yeah, but
You know who you are.
we really were careful about who we brought in because we wanted people that would be very pragmatic. They weren't interested in their own, YouTube monetization strategy or how they particularly make content. They wanted the game to be in a great place. They wanted PvP to be in a great place for the community and for Destiny.
Absolutely.
Right? And they were carefully selected that way, and great communicators who could articulate the feedback. They could really speak to what they were experiencing and what we could do to fix what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
And I'd like, Cooley can probably say what he thinks about it too, but I was just blown away by how valuable that was, and we definitely want to keep doing that.
Certainly, yeah. Yeah, Cooley, can you tell us a little bit more about that experience on your side as well?
Totally. I mean, it's so fun to, those are some of my favorite moments when we can get a bunch of, super fans from the community in and show them work in progress stuff, and they can actually give us real actionable feedback that we take back to our desks and talk about it, and we discuss how can we, sort of take their feedback and move forward. And this content is for them in a big way, right? Like we need their approval. Like we absolutely, that's our mark. That's our goal is to
that's
create content
too.
that they're gonna love playing and that they're excited to play and that their communities are gonna get excited to play and sort of learn together and build strategies for. That's the funnest part of the job.
Yeah. I mean, also, Cooley, on your side in general, what are you most excited for players to experience once this gets out into the world with Into the Light?
Yeah, I'm excited to see these maps rotate into trials. I'm excited for players to have a totally new trials experience that
it's not going to be a fun experience.
A sort of an experience of discovery of these new spaces and new strategies, and for players to also, the meta isn't really formed yet. I mean, like we sort of know how the map plays, but it's always a fun surprise to see in the wild just how the map ends up sorting out. And
I bet people are gonna still run Forerunner and a sidearm.
We're really looking forward to
hand cannons would be really good on this map, especially 120s.
Yeah. I mean, I count myself among the many that are
witness.
excited to go ahead and dive on in, having more playgrounds to go ahead and dive on in on trials, no matter what the case is, to maybe try and go ahead and actually get some more competitive rank. Cooley, thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through these today. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, my pleasure.
Excellent. And all right, well, we'll go ahead and use that as a moment to conclude the quick tour of as well of the PvP maps. We got a quick question from chat from Jakasor asking about are we going to get a playlist or mode? It'll be just these new maps during Into the Light, and the answer is yes. When they launch on May 7th, we'll have a 3v3 playlist to go ahead and talk just about these items. Or rather, let you play just those maps. Rather, we're talking about them today. They're all going to be playing them very shortly. All right, well, that so far wraps up the first 2 segments of our show. But
wait,
we've
are
got,
the maps out today?
Top, a few more announcements for you as well. So you may have heard us mention the word Pantheon in the TWID last week, or even on the show.
I mean, reset just happened.
We have got
but
a
I don't think they're
new,
going to be on
raid-oriented, a raid boss gauntlet rather,
Let's see if there's
starting
an
on
update.
April 30th. Now, there will be more information about this in an upcoming TWID. You'll have more details to dig into shortly, but you will have the Pantheon coming up where you'll have an opportunity to face grueling raid bosses in a weekly challenge
no
with
update
escalating
for
difficulties
D2, so I don't
rewards.
think new maps
now,
are
this is a chance for you to
in.
go ahead and rally your clan
next
or
week,
the perfect fire team with Fire Team Finder, if you're able to track them down, to go ahead and track down those exotics, adept weapons, any emblems you may not have gotten your hands on, but we have more details for that in the coming weeks. Keep an eye on the TWID, Cosmo, and the community team. Thank you for your hard work putting that together. 2, when you dive on in on April 9th, actually rather before we get there, I'm sorry, we will have the opportunity to also, you'll have the opportunity to get a title through your course of Into the Light as well. So if you dive on in, go ahead and unlock all the triumphs associated with the seal, you'll be able to march into the final shape with a brand new title, Brave, as well. So make sure, go ahead and get those big challenges bid offs, that way you can handle them as early as you possibly can and let the witness know that you're on the way. And we have 3 really, really cool things hitting on April 9th when Into the Light launches. The first one is, if you're a new player, you got a buddy who's just jumping into the game for the first time, and you'd rather not hang out with Shahan and the Cosmodrome, then you have an opportunity to go ahead and just join the front lines. You can skip the New Light campaign, give Shahan maybe a high five on the way out, ask him for a weekly bounty when you're back later, but you have a chance to go ahead and meet up with your friends, head to the Hall of Champions, grab the gift of the Thunder Lords if you so choose, and get ready for battle alongside them. So you'll be able to go ahead and grab some of these New Light kits as well, depending on what your subclass of choice is out of the gate. But
this is cool.
Your barriers to dive in with your friends have never been lower. There'll be a chance to go ahead and dive on into everything you're seeing with Into the Light here.
That's actually so
also,
good.
We have a couple more things. We have some questions in chat about this as well from Idzepski and Atlas Live TV. But on 4.9, you'll have the opportunity to also change the way your character looks. So you'll be able to go ahead and change your hair if you didn't like your haircut. If you want to go ahead and change your face paint. If you want to go ahead and risk it to be one of those guardians who goes helmetless in the tower. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough, but I know many of you are.
Bill the Conqueror, fucking weirdo, bald head boy.
Oh, finally they're letting us
there
change
will
our
also be an
hunter.
opportunity
God, they're letting
to
us
change your name.
guardians, finally.
So Guardian
Yeah.
468 out there.
We can change our names?
With the launch of Into the Light, we're also going to give you one more name change.
Yes!
You already have yours sitting around. I believe you have 2, but our friends in DPS will be able to answer that question.
Yes, I can change my name to something obscure.
Well, once Into the Light launches.
Does that mean I
Now,
can make
Iron
there's a
Banner
lot, but we also have one
WoW
more
should
thing
be in
for all of you.
rotation.
Next week, we're going to be joining you again for a special
name myself
developer
something
preview
obscure
of some
like
gameplay for
Yeah.
Destiny 2: The
Petal,
Final
or
Shape.
like washing machine.
It'll be here,
What?
wherever you're watching live. You'll be able to go ahead and watch it on April 9th at 9:30 a.m.
Delo,
Pacific,
what?
where you'll get a
The
chance to
Final
see
Shape
again,
developer.
behind the scenes
Oh
with the
my
developers who have been
god.
hard at work for some cool stuff that you are definitely not going to want to miss. And over the course of that show, Twitch drops will be live. So there'll be another emblem, which you can see here live on the screen, that'll be available after about 15 minutes.
Okay.
If you haven't
Cooking.
gone ahead and also unlocked the emblems that you got as a result of this show, or that we're having available during
That's
the
a
live stream,
PST?
then you have a chance to go ahead and spend some more time unlocking those
9:30
as well.
a.m. PST?
But that does it. For starters, to all of you Guardians out there in chat, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We're thrilled about what we've been able to show off and thrilled about what the team's been working on for Into the Light. So thank you for taking the time to join us. Chat, we see you out there having a good time, so thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. Also, it goes without saying, but we'll go ahead and do so anyway, to the incredible team here at Bungie, building Into the Light, making all of this, the teams that you guys have been kind enough to represent. Thank you all so much for all of your hard work. We're nothing without the entire teams that we have here. Teams are obviously greater than heroes, and we're firm believers in that. You're all great examples of that whole scenario. To our play testers as well that have helped us bring this show to life, to Ashley, Peyton, and Michael here behind the scenes, thank you so much for showing off some of the cool new content, and of course all of our guests, to Tom, to Rob, to Cooley, to Willie, to Noah, to Kelsey, I'm not forgetting anyone, am I?
Chris.
To Chris, thank you. To the one and only Mr. Chris Proctor as well. Thank you all for joining us. And now that is about it. So we're going to keep the stream here live until about 11:30, I believe, so you can go ahead and get a little bit more time racking up the last bits of those emblems. But in the meantime, that's it for all of us here at Bungie. Oh, also, I'm sorry, to the team of producers here, everyone here that makes this show possible, they have the challenge of making me look good on camera, so obviously their work is cut out for them. Thank you all so much for helping bring this show to life. And now, finally, we're going to go ahead and sign off, and reminder, Into the Light launches next week. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
Bye, I love you. Bye. Damn, that music's loud. Oh my god. Cool. All right.
That was interesting.
Yeah. I just want to say to you guys on YouTube, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it's kind of like a reaction type of thing, but I want to be live next week for the developer live stream on the final shape as well. So yeah, tune in if you guys want to see that. Let me know down in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you want to watch it live, I'll leave the link to the video downloaded down below in the description. It will be the first link. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Peace.